How you doing, folks? You're watching Onward with Onrie. I'm your host, Onrie Kompan, and this week I'm giving you guys a special behind-the-scenes look at a brand new scene that you'll see in the next issue of YI SOON SHIN, Hunter and Destroyer #1, which is in its final days of Kickstarter as we speak. Click on the link in the comments section and make your pledge today. The YI SOON SHIN production process is very meticulous and at times grueling. We work for immaculate results in every aspect of this book. Art and storytelling go hand in hand. So right now I want you guys to sit back and enjoy this spoiler-free episode that shows you the depths we go to in order to get the most out of every page in this series. Unlike most comics that are produced based on full scripts, the YI SOON SHIN production team breaks up each individual scene from the book so that we can make sure that we have a strong visual sense that not only serves our characters, but more importantly the story we're telling. Not every scene contains big action sequences. In order to advance the plot and our characters' motives, we need to have scenes where people talk to each other. But rather than have panels and panels of talking heads, we try to go for the most stylized approach so that the pages don't appear static and boring. In this brand new scene that we just finished, Dak and I were challenged with reintroducing two main characters into the book on the same page. Introductions are important, and what made this one so difficult is that we had to introduce our main bad guy, Baron So, on the same page as Japanese General Wakizaka Yasuharu, without stealing thunder from either character. In comics, you're always working within the confines of the pages you have. You have to know what to omit and what to include. Upon reintroducing Wakizaka, it is essential to inform readers of his current predicament. Without the use of word balloons, it is imperative that the reader be able to look at the art and understand the story. What you're seeing here is the first draft of my layouts. In case you can't tell, I'm not the best artist, which is why I leave it to Elle to turn my art into a masterpiece. After working on this page, I sent it off to Dak, and he said that I was onto something, but he wanted the Baron to have much more presence on the page. I went for the more ominous approach, but showing his foot in the last panel wasn't enough. This draft was too focused on Wakizaka. The second draft took on a different tone. I kept most of the page the same, but for the last panel, Dak wanted me to try and go for a more stylized approach. We wanted to exaggerate the Baron the same way Batman, for example, is exaggerated in his own book. You know, the way he just appears out of nowhere? The problem now was that the Baron was still severely undermined by Wakizaka. We needed a brand new approach, and I had no idea where to turn from here. At this point, Dak suggested that I look at some old Spirit comics where Will Eisner used stylized visuals to great effect. Our next approach was to use Baron So's shadow as a way to increase his ominous presence and balance it with Wakizaka. But now Wakizaka was basically gone from the page. Fortunately, we came up with a great way to insert him into the page while advancing his character by simply turning the Baron around and inserting Wakizaka into the foreground. It's now time to get this page over to Elle. The editorial layouts are accompanied with a rough script that will be finalized in the last stages of the production process so that this scene synchronizes with the rest of the book. Once we got Elle's first round of layouts, we realized that the shadow couldn't fit on the page. This forced Dak and I to review the page thoroughly and find a new way to insert the shadow. After hours of conversation, we also decided to eliminate one of the panels. One of our mottos for this book has always been, when in doubt, throw it out. If the panel or the scene or the character or whatever isn't serving to advance the story, then it needs to be dumped. In comics production, you want to try and eliminate as many redundancies as possible. Now that Elle's layouts were approved, it was time to move to inks. Now this page is not like your typical scene in YI SOON SHIN because we sacrifice detail for style in order to make the Baron's presence felt and turn what could be a static scene into one where there is motion and conflict. But the black and white work only tells half the story. In this series, everything must serve the story, especially the coloring. Adriana is not just going to lay flat colors on this page. She's going to maximize the drama and effect of it. After numerous drafts, the page is colored, but the work is only 75% completed. We now have to put together the final script and put it next to the page that it'll be facing to make sure that everything works. Again, we want to eliminate any redundancies or any unfortunate features that can disrupt the experience. Our job is to make it look easy so that the reader doesn't have to do the work and can enjoy the story. As you can see, there is months of work involved in every single page of this book, but the results are worth all the added effort. And what makes this production process so unique is that we don't answer to the direct market. We put our books out when they're ready. We only answer to our audience who demand our best work, and we deliver because nothing less will do. And that's how we do it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll be back later this week with another great episode. Until then, onward to victory.